Welcome back, it's Seth here. If you want to become financially literate, you don't have to be financially savvy from the get-go. You don't need a bachelor's or a master's degree in business. Becoming financially literate is about learning habits that will help you grow wealth over time. So in this video, I have 5 habits that you can incorporate in your life on a daily basis, which will help you to grow your wealth over time. However, before I dive deep into this video, please hit the like button down below, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to help grow our channel. Now that you hit the like button, let's dive in. So to kick it off, the habit number 1 that we should all be incorporating is to automate your savings. Automating your savings is really important. So important that the research from Harvard School of Business tracked 50,000 employees over a 5-year period. And what they found was that 94% of automatic savers hit or exceeded their targets, whereas manual savers, only 34% of them hit their targets. This difference for automatic savers meant that they would be able to accumulate 2.3 times more wealth than manual savers. And if you really think about it, this research makes sense. When you have a paycheck that hits your bank account and have a certain portion of that paycheck transferred over to your savings, it's almost as if you never received that money. And once you transfer that money over, your temptation to spend that money goes down significantly. And to incorporate this habit into your daily life, all you really have to do is log into your bank account and just set up your account so that part of your paycheck always gets transferred over to your savings and investings. Once that's done, you really don't have to do anything else. And my advice is, if you can at least save 10%, if not more, ideally close to 20%, you'll be ahead of 79% of Canadians, as most Canadians don't even save 10% per month. Now moving on to habit number 2 that we should all learn, and that is to learn the difference between an asset and a liability. I truly believe this is a very important concept that most people just don't understand. On a high level, asset is anything that puts money into your pocket over time, whereas a liability takes money out of your pocket over time. So to give you an example of a liability, one of the most common liabilities that most Canadians have is their own personal car. Your personal car over time consumes gas, insurance, maintenance, and it also depreciates over time. And this investment that most people say that they're buying will cost you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, even $100,000. And over time, you're spending more money on this investment in the end for it to be worth a fraction of what you actually paid for it. And now a great example of an asset is a rental property. A rental property is rented out to a tenant who will pay you rent on a monthly basis. This rent will cover your mortgage and any other expenses for the house, and you should be left with some sort of cash flow at the end as well. And over time, this property should go up in value. So this is an asset as it puts money into your pocket, and you'll make more money once you sell the property in the future. Another great asset is stocks and dividend-paying stocks, as they pay you dividend on a monthly or a quarterly basis, and the stock over time will go up in value. So before making a big purchase, do think about if this purchase is going to put money into your pocket or if it's going to take money out of your pocket over time. And by thinking this way, this will really help you to shift your spending patterns. Now that we learned the difference between an asset and a liability, this moves me to our habit number 3 that we should incorporate, and that is to track your net worth. By tracking your net worth, this really helps you to see if your wealth's growing over time or if things are getting worse. The net worth formula itself is quite simple. It's when you take your assets, you minus your liabilities, and that gives you your net worth. So for an example, let's say you have a house that's worth $500,000, and then you also have investments in cash of $100,000. These are your assets. And now for liabilities, let's say you have a mortgage of $250,000, and you have a car loan of $20,000. These would be your liabilities. So your total net worth would be $370,000. I would say for most individuals, you can track your net worth every quarter or every 6 months. I personally used to track my net worth every single month because most of my investments are in the stock market. It just doesn't make sense to track it on a monthly basis. So now I've flipped over to tracking it every single quarter because that gives me a better idea of if my wealth is growing or if it's decreasing. And tracking your net worth will really help you to be accountable for your goals. If you see that your net worth isn't growing as fast as you like, this means now that your goals need to be more aggressive. However, if you think you've hit your goals, now you can relax a bit and start to enjoy life. And to track your net worth, it's quite simple. You can use an Excel sheet where you list all your assets and liabilities, and you can update your Excel every quarterly basis or every 6 months. So now that we're tracking our net worth, this leads me to habit number 4 that we should incorporate, and that is to invest as soon as possible. There's a great article that's published called Go Big and Then Stop. This article compares 2 individuals. The first individual who only invests for the first 10 years of their career and does not invest ever again. So this is the start early individual. And the second individual who doesn't invest for the first 10 years, however, then invests for 30 years straight afterwards. Both these individuals invest $10,000 per year and get an average return of 7% per year. And what you find is the first individual who invested for the first 10 years and never again, the start early person, has a portfolio value higher than the second individual who invested for 30 years, however, 10 years late. The start early individual actually only invested $100,000, where the start late individual invested over $300,000. That's a $200,000 difference. And even still, the start early person has a higher portfolio value than the start late person. What this example is showing you is that you should be investing as soon as possible because you want to take advantage of compound interest. And if you're thinking that you don't have $10,000 to invest this year, that's okay. You can start investing with as little as $100 per month. And that's actually how I got most of my friends to invest. Especially if you're someone who's scared to invest in the market, you can start investing with a small amount, and once you get comfortable, you can start investing more money over time. And after saying this, if you think it's already too late, it's not late. The right time to invest is now. What I usually would recommend is that you go invest in a low-cost index fund, which will give you a return of anywhere from 8 to 10% per year, and keep investing on a consistent basis. And you'll see your wealth grow over time. Now moving on to habit number 5, which will put more money into your pocket every single month, and that is to negotiate your bills. This is actually one of my favorite things to do because you can actually save a ton of money. I really like to call my phone provider and negotiate my monthly bill. What I personally do is I let the provider know that I really enjoy their service. However, their current plan is becoming slightly unaffordable. And if there's anything they can do to reduce my monthly cost, because I don't want to switch over to another provider. And what really helps your case is if you can give them a comparison of a deal that's ongoing by another provider, they will really try to help you to reduce your monthly amount because they don't want you switching over to their competitor. And you don't have to just do this for your phone plan. This could be for anything. I also do this for my car insurance every single year. In the end of the day, even if you save $5 or $10 per month, that may not sound like a lot of money. However, that's over $120 per year. And at the end of the day, every single dollar counts. I do understand that this does involve a bit of work. You have to pick up your phone and call your provider and then wait for a representative. However, in the end, you'll save some money, so it's totally worth it. So those are my 5 habits that I think we should all incorporate this year. However, I do have one more bonus habit that I think we should all learn, and that is to work on delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is about choosing future freedom over comfort today. If you can say no now, you'll be saying yes for the rest of your future. Even Warren Buffett, one of the best investors to have ever lived, lives by delayed gratification. Buffett talks about how fundamental delayed gratification is for building long-term wealth, urging people to live below their means, avoiding unnecessary spending, and investing the difference. One example of delayed gratification can be an individual getting a raise at a job. Once an individual has received a raise at their job, they could have the temptation to go buy a brand new car. However, instead of buying that new car, you go buy a used car. And by saving the money from buying a used car, you invest the difference. And even better, you realize you don't even need a new car. The current car you have is completely fine. So because you received a pay raise, now you start investing more money every single month. And a more basic example that you may be able to relate to on a daily basis is buying less coffee. Let's say you buy coffee every single day when you're at work. That's 5 days a week. Instead of 5 days, you decide to cut down to 3 days. So now by not buying coffee for 2 days, you're saving $10 a week. And that's $40 per month. And you take the $40 per month that you're saving and add it to your investments every single month. I know what you're thinking. $40 per month? Really? How much of a difference is that really going to make? Wouldn't I really enjoy the coffee more than saving 40 bucks? Well, at the end of the day, it's totally up to you. But what I will tell you is by investing additional $40 per month over a 40-year period, that's going to net you over $200,000. So for me personally, I will learn delayed gratification, save that $40 per month, and invest it, because I'd rather have the $200,000. So when it comes to daily spending, definitely do evaluate if the purchase is necessary or if you can find a substitute, or if you can fully avoid it. And over time, the better you get with delayed gratification, the more faster you'll see your wealth grow. Now, those are all the habits that I think we should all learn and apply in our life. If you guys did enjoy this video, please stay tuned for future videos. And until next time, remember to keep investing.